Babes in Toyland had its premiere in the USA at the end of November 1934 and broke all box office records of the already good Christmas business. But behind the scenes it was anything but splendid. Babes in Toyland should become for Laurel and Hardy the movie of the Roach era whose production took the longest time. In November 1933 L. Roach had bought the rights for Victor Herbert's operetta Babes in Toyland from 1903. The big plus was the catchy melodies, but the plot of the characters from Toyland was poor. Roach set about reworking it himself, because the operetta was to become an even more glamorous project than The Devil's Brothers, Francis Diallo. He wrote a completely new framework plot, which Laurel absolutely disliked. This laid the foundation for their disagreement. While Roach had previously given his star comedian Laurel a free hand and had accepted his bad publicity because of his affairs with women and his tendency to drink, he could now hardly cope with Laurel's brusque rejection of his treatment of the material. In the midst of the clash between Laurel and Roach, new difficulties from Laurel's private life came to light. He had been divorced from Lois Nelson in October 1933. In early 1934, Laurel's lawyer Ben Shipman feared that Lois Nelson would have his client's weekly income seized. Since this seemed to threaten his existence, Laurel seriously considered whether it was not advisable to move to England. Laurel's thoughts did not go unnoticed. It was soon said that the end of the duo Laurel and Hardy had come. After tough negotiations, however, Lois Nelson could be satisfied. In the meantime, Laurel had married Virginia Ruth Rogers on April 2, 1934 in Mexico, but fortunately this was not recognized in California. So he did not commit bigamy. For his divorce did not become final until a year later in October 1933. So Laurel had to legalize with current liaison again in September 1935. Which did not stop him from continuing his relationship with Alice Ardell and making new female acquaintances apart from all that. For the gossip press, this was of course something that Roach did not enjoy. But also Hardy did not remain unshorn. His wife Myrtle spent her days in a state of intoxication, so that he had to put her in a sanatorium at the beginning of 1934. This gave him the opportunity to devote even more time to a friend Viola Morse. Another reason for Roach to show bitterness. These escapades had a negative effect on the mood and work in the studio. Meanwhile the finished script for Babes in Toyland was rewritten again, which led to further arguments between Roach and Laurel. Meanwhile they affected almost every conceivable aspect of the production. By the time the plot and the script had taken shape, there had already been much annoyance. During the production process, numerous difficulties arose, which gave the studio further negative headlines in the gossip columns. Harry Brandon, the actor of the villain Silas Barnaby, was drunk and had a fight with several waiters in a restaurant. This brought him not only a big nose but also a one-week stay in prison, which the press followed with argus eyes. In addition, Laurel and assistant director Gordon Douglas were injured during the filming, and on top of that Hardy had to have his tonsils removed. It must have been a bomb to the exuberant reviews and the excellent box office results for Roach when Babes in Toyland came to the American movie houses at the end of 1934 and proved to be a real family film. But the wedge between Roach and Laurel was already so deep that it could not be removed. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to follow me on my social channels and check out my other videos. Links in the description.